You ever wonder why the woman who once hung on your every word suddenly goes silent just when you thought things were getting real? Let me tell you something. When a woman is deeply in love, her silence isn't distance, it's depth. It's not about losing interest. It's about protecting what she feels. But most men misread that quiet. They panic. They chase. They push her away without even realizing it. If you don't understand this shift, you'll ruin something powerful before it even begins. So listen closely, because if you want to keep her, you need to understand the silence. Silence is her emotional shield, not rejection. You ever noticed how the woman who once couldn't go a day without hearing your voice suddenly becomes quiet, distant, maybe even cold? And you start thinking, what did I do wrong? Is she losing interest? Is there someone else? But what if I told you that her silence in that moment has absolutely nothing to do with losing feelings and everything to do with how deeply she feels? See, when a woman is falling hard, when love starts sinking deep into her heart, something in her pulls back. Not because she's playing games, not because she wants to hurt you, but because for a lot of women, silence is safety, it's protection, it's her emotional shield. And I know that's confusing, especially if you've been taught to believe that affection is loud, that love is about constant communication, texts, phone calls, attention, validation. But that's only one side of the story, because the deeper the love goes, the more exposed she feels. Her quietness isn't rejection, it's reflection. It's the moment she starts asking herself, can I trust this? Can I trust him? Can I trust myself in this? We live in a world where women are constantly told to be soft, to give, to love with everything, and yet punished for it when that love isn't reciprocated or protected. So when she feels something real, something that shakes her foundation, her first instinct might not be to come closer. It might be to pull away, not out of fear of you, but out of fear of what this love could cost her if it goes wrong. Now, here's where a lot of men get it wrong. They feel the silence and rush in to fix it, bombard her with calls, flood her with questions, try to force words out of her. And that's the moment she goes even deeper into herself, because she's not looking for someone to rescue her from that silence. She's looking to see if you can respect it, if you can honor that this pause, this distance, is her way of grounding herself emotionally before she gives herself completely. The truth is, when a woman's love runs deep, it's terrifying for her because deep love means deep risk. She's quiet because she's trying to figure out if you're the kind of man who can hold her heart without breaking it, if your presence feels safe enough for her to come undone in. And that kind of safety, emotional safety, it's rare. This silence, it's a moment of transition, a moment where she goes from being interested to being invested. And before she invests, she pauses, she hides, she gets still. Because that's the only way she knows if you're invested too. So if she's ignoring you right now, and you're sure it's not because you disrespected her, or hurt her, or betrayed her, then understand this: her silence might be the loudest declaration of love she's ever made. It might be the moment she's taking a deep breath before she dives all in. And your job is not to interrupt that moment. It's to make sure that when she comes back up for air, she finds you still there, calm, steady, and real. Because the woman who goes quiet when she loves you is the same woman who, when she finally feels safe, will love you louder than anyone ever has. And if you don't get that, you'll lose her before you even realize what you had. Let her silence teach you something. Let it grow you. Because if you can't understand her quiet, you'll never deserve her heart. There's this moment that happens in almost every connection where a woman starts to feel something real. And instead of getting closer, she suddenly pulls much. She stops calling as much. She takes longer to reply. She seems more distracted. And most men start to panic. They start asking themselves, did I say something wrong? Did I do something to push her away? Is she no longer into me? But here's the part most men miss. When a woman starts to ignore you or create distance, especially when she's falling deeply in love, it's not always because she's losing interest. Sometimes she's watching closely. Not just your actions, but your energy, your pace, your tone, your presence. You see, when a woman pulls back, it's rarely random. She's not just being moody. She's observing you, testing, not in a manipulative way, but in a deeply instinctual one. She wants to see something crucial. Are you going to chase her like a boy or lead like a man? That silence, that space she creates, becomes her lens for clarity. And how you respond to it speaks louder than anything you could say. A lot of men respond to that shift by chasing, by overcompensating, by sending too many texts, becoming overly available, begging for clarity, trying to pull her back emotionally. But chasing rarely inspires respect. In fact, the more you chase, the more you tell her, without saying a word, that your center isn't strong, that your emotional state depends on her attention, that if she pulls away even slightly, you unravel. That's not attractive, it's unsettling, because what she truly wants to see is whether you can maintain your frame, whether you stay grounded when the emotional winds blow, whether you can continue to lead, not just in the good moments, but in the uncertain ones too. Because here's what nobody tells you: love isn't always loud. It's not always smiles and good morning, texts and kisses and butter. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's space. Sometimes it's a woman sitting in her emotions, trying to figure out if what she feels is real and if you're real enough to match it. If she pulls back and sees you chasing wildly, losing your balance, or trying to pressure her for answers, she's already made her decision. But if she steps away and sees you still focused, still composed, still in your purpose, still leading your own life, you pass the test without even knowing there was one. That's what leadership looks like in love. Not control, not dominance, but calm, grounded presence. The kind of presence that doesn't demand her affection, but invites it. That doesn't chase her attention, but draws her back through certainty, not desperation. And when a woman is in love, real love, her emotions get loud inside of her. The silence you hear on the outside is the noise she's trying to calm on the inside. And in that storm, she needs to know, can you be the steady ground, or will you just become part of the chaos? Let her watch. Let her pull back. Let her test the air between you. And instead of reacting, keep leading. Keep showing up as the man who doesn't flinch when things get quiet. Who doesn't chase after someone who's only looking for assurance that you won't fall apart under pressure. Because when you lead instead of chase, you don't just attract her, you earn her trust. And when a woman trusts you deeply, there is nothing she won't give, nothing she won't become. So remember this. Your calm confidence in her silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Not every woman expresses love with words. Not every woman needs to be loud about how she feels. And if you're only paying attention to the obvious signs, the texts, the compliments, the constant affirmations, you're going to miss something powerful. Because for some women, silence is a love language. Her withdrawal doesn't mean she doesn't care. It means she's feeling deeply, and she's seeing if you can feel it too without her having to spell it out. Now, I know that sounds strange. We've been conditioned to expect that when someone loves us, they'll be expressive, they'll show it all the time. But the truth is, not everyone was raised in an environment where emotional vulnerability was safe. Some women learn that the deeper they feel, the quieter they have to get. Not because they don't want to speak, but because they're afraid of what might happen if they do. They're afraid of being misunderstood, dismissed, or worse, used. So what does she do? She goes inward. She watches. She listens. She feels. She lets you talk. She lets you lead. And in that silence, she's asking herself a quiet question. Can he understand me without me having to explain every detail? Can he see me when I'm not shining? Can he feel me when I'm not speaking? That's the real test. And most men miss it because they don't know how to sit with emotional silence. They assume quiet means absence or detachment or disinterest. But sometimes it means the opposite. It means she's so full of emotion, she doesn't know how to pour it out without drowning in it. It means she's choosing to pause rather than overwhelm you. That's not weakness. That's restraint. That's self-control. That's maturity. Now, here's the part you need to understand. If you're always looking for the loud kind of love, the obvious kind, you'll always overlook the one who's loving you in the stillness. You'll think she doesn't care while she's quietly sacrificing, quietly showing up, quietly staying when she could have left. Some women speak with gestures, not words. With presence, not performance. With loyalty, not loudness. So when she ignores you or pulls away during the early stages, or even in the middle of something real, it's not always punishment. Sometimes it's protection. She's seeing whether you can tune into the unspoken, whether you can handle the emotional silence without panicking, accusing, or pulling away yourself. That silence is sacred to her. It's where she sorts through her feelings, checks her boundaries, and protects her peace. If you invade it, force your way into it, or demand answers before she's ready to give them, you'll push her further away. But if you honor it, if you respect it and stay consistent through it, you'll earn a place in her world that very few ever reach. It's not about being psychic. It's not about guessing everything she feels. It's about presence. It's about energy. It's about paying attention to the way she is, not just the way she talks. And once she sees you understand her, even when she's not expressing, she'll open up to you in ways she never has with anyone else. That's when the real connection begins. Not in the noise, but in the quiet. Because when a woman trusts you with her silence, you've reached a level of intimacy that words can't touch. If you want her heart, learn to listen when she's not speaking. Sometimes when a woman starts falling in love, really falling in love, she disappears a little. Not physically. She still shows up, still responds, still smiles. But emotionally, she starts to pull back. She goes quiet. She seems distracted. And you're left wondering, why is she acting distant just when things were getting good? But here's what many men don't realize. When a woman goes quiet in love, it's often not because she's losing interest. It's because she's afraid. Not afraid of you, necessarily, but afraid of what this love might do to her. You see, a lot of women have loved before, deeply, fully. They've given all of themselves to someone who didn't know what to do with that kind of love, who fumbled it, rejected it, abused it, or simply didn't value it. And the scars from those experiences don't just disappear. They stay buried inside, shaping how she reacts when love starts to feel too real. So when she senses that same intensity rising again, when her heart starts to race for you, when she finds herself thinking about you more than she planned, her instincts kick in. She remembers what it felt like the last time she trusted someone with her whole heart, and she pauses. Because deep love can feel dangerous when you've been wounded before. She's not ignoring you to play hard to get. She's ignoring you to protect the parts of herself she's not sure she can trust anyone else with. She's trying to figure out, can I do this again? Can I survive this if it goes wrong again? Can I let myself go there and not lose myself in the process? That's something you might never see on the surface, but it's real and it's heavy. Because for some women, love hasn't just been butterflies and roses. It's been heartbreak and betrayal. And so her silence becomes her safety net, her shield, her breath before the plunge. Now here's where your role becomes everything. If you respond to her silence with insecurity, pressure, or guilt, tripping, you confirm her fear that love means losing herself again, that she has to perform or explain or soothe your emotions even when she's the one battling her own. But if you respond with steadiness, with patience, with calm presence, you show her something different. You show her that this time, it might actually be safe to come out from behind the wall. The key is not to chase, not to beg, not to overanalyze. It's to remain grounded, to hold space for her without trying to fix her. To remind her through your energy, not your words, that she's not going to lose herself by loving you because you're not asking her to shrink. You're not demanding all of her at once. You're just there, present, steady, trustworthy. And that, for a woman who's been burned by love before, is everything, because she's not just watching to see how much you like her. She's watching to see how much you respect her need for space. She's watching to see if you can handle the quiet without questioning your worth. She's watching to see if your masculinity is stable enough to make room for her vulnerability. So if she gets quiet, don't panic. Don't pull away. Don't assume the worst. Know that she's doing the inner work. She's having a private conversation with her heart, and your job is simply to be someone who's still there when she decides to speak again. Because once she feels safe, truly safe, her love won't whisper, it'll roar. And when that happens, you'll realize that the silence was never distance. It was her way of making sure this love wouldn't cost her soul. If you can hold her through the quiet, you'll never have to question her when she speaks. There's something most men overlook when a woman starts to ignore them. Not because she's vanished completely, but because something in her has shifted. Maybe her texts aren't as frequent. Maybe her tone has changed. She seems slightly off, distant, not cold, but not quite as warm as she used to be. And you feel it, even if you can't explain it. Here's the truth most people won't tell you. Women are emotional detectives. They may not always say what they feel right away, but they notice everything. And the moment your energy changes, even just a little, she feels it in her body before she even names it in her mind. She may not have proof. You may not have said or done anything obvious, but her intuition is working over time, and when something feels off, she pulls back, not to punish you, but to observe you. You might think you're doing all the same things, sending messages, checking in, showing up. But energy doesn't lie. Maybe you became a little too available too fast. Maybe you stopped being as intentional. Maybe you started taking her presence for granted. Or maybe you started second guessing yourself, and she could sense the hesitation in your voice. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. When a woman is falling for you, she's not just watching how high you can fly at the start. She's watching how stable your wings are when things settle. She's asking herself, was that initial effort real? Or was it just a performance to win me over? And that's when she starts